Well, hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the channel, back to the basement here. Today I'm going to do a demo breakdown of Canola Fields, the lead-off track from James McMurtry's masterful 2021 release, The Horses and the Hounds. This is a song that has been requested by a number of people over the past couple of years, coming on about half a dozen, I think. And the only real reason I haven't done it up to now is because up to now I haven't been able to do it. The honest truth is I just couldn't grok the way these changes go together. We're going to see in a minute that it's the same changes James uses in like 24 other songs. So it's not a question of finding the chords, but timing them in this section to make this song instead of one of the other 24 that he uses these changes on. I kept falling into the other songs because I know them. I know a bunch of them. You know, a man who knew too much. I guess that's me. So finally, even my lovely bride said, "You know what? Why don't you do Canola Fields? Such a great song." And I explained, you know, what I just said. And then after that conversation, I came on down here to the studio and picked the guitar up and said, let me give it one more shot here. And lo and behold, it just everything just clicked right into place, as if I had known it all this time. And I have no clue how that happened, no idea, but I'll take it. So while I know how to play it, I figured I'd better do one of these, both for for the folks who have requested, and for myself, because I'm probably going to need it at some point. So, and I will say, this is, I'm on like take 4 here so far, because as I've gone through the sections, I keep screwing it up. So I am living proof. I hope we'll be able to make a clean one here this time. So let's see how we go. Okay, let's first off, of course, every time I do one of these, starting in the tuning, it's just natural tuning with the capo on the first position. So as I always do, I'm not going to add one fret to everything I talk about. We're just going to pretend that's the nut right there. Excuse me. Fun fact, there's only one other song that James plays in this configuration at the moment, and that one is Lights of Cheyenne. It was out on Live in '03, 21 years ago. Alrighty. So now let's take a look at the changes that make up this tune and those other 24 tunes. It's one of those things where you're going to have these two fingers here sitting on the 3rd fret of the 2 highest strings most of the time. There'll be a couple moments when you pick them up, but so you just get used to that. And then we're going to be doing the G kind of shape here. That guy there on the 2nd fret, 5th string. 2nd finger, 3rd fret, lowest string. These two guys, and then the C-ish kind of form on this, where you just jump these 2 fingers 1 string over. Pretty standard. And then the next shape is a D-ish sort of thing. I know these all have official names. I don't know what they are. I'm sorry. So you're just dropping. What you're doing is you're lifting up these 2, switching them over. 1st finger here, 2nd fret on the lowest string, 2nd finger, 3rd string, 2nd fret. And then the last one is you just lift up the 2nd finger entirely and just drop your index finger down there on the 5th string, 2nd fret. And that's kind of a jangly E minor, okay? Those are the 4 shapes that make up the song. And we're going to try to get them in the right sequence. All right, so first thing I'll do is a little intro figure that starts the song. Another fun fact, it's the only guitar bit that James plays on that song, that little intro part. He didn't play guitar much on Horses and the Hounds. All right, here we go. Okay, so you're doing this hammer-on thing. You're starting in the G shape, and you're going to end in the C shape. So you're hammering on with your 1st finger here, leaving this guy in the G position. And then only on the last stroke do you come down on the C. You can hammer both of those if you like. Okay? Now, the verses are all pretty much the same each time through the song. We'll see that the choruses differ only in their lyrics, but they're structurally very, very similar throughout the song. So let's start with the verses. I was thinking about you crossing southern Alberta, canola fields on a July day, about the same chartreuse as that 69 bug you used to drive around San Jose. All right, so it's those four shapes, and you're changing something almost every measure. Okay, so starting out in the C-ish, thinking about you, to the G, southern Alberta, back to the C, canola fields, to the D-ish on a July day, about the C, same chartreuse as the G, walk down. Okay, this is the walk, is a little sequence we're going to have to do here. About the same chartreuse as that 69 bug you used to drive around San Jose. It's almost every syllable there, you've got a change going on. About the same chartreuse as that 6, you're starting on the G, you're walking down to the F sharp on the lowest string, to the E minor-ish shape where you're grabbing the first finger on the second fret of the 5th string, and then back up to the D and the C again. Got all that? Here we go. I was thinking about you. I'll do the second part. You never knew where my old white Lincoln might take you. Party on wheels with the suicide door. Bring the kids and the dogs and your grandma too. Always have room for more. Oh, I'm sorry, I see that my hand was off screen there. Let me do that again. Never knew where my old white Lincoln might take me. Party on wheels with suicide doors. Kids and the dogs and the grandma too. You always have room for more. Alright, so each one of those goes the same. So the first verse is the I was thinking about you, and the second verse is you never knew, and the third verse is that white knuckle ride. So that's how I'm breaking it up. And those are pretty much the same every time in the song. So it's going to take, it'll take you some time to not hard changes. It's just making sure you get them in the right order every time. Doesn't help getting older. Okay, now let's get on to the choruses, and the choruses I'm going to break up into two sections. The first section is the line that starts where he kind of goes high. He says, "And it wasn't like we were an item to start with." And later in the song, the last two choruses is in a way back corner of the crosstown. And so that's the first section of the chorus. The second section of the chorus that we'll treat starts with the "Take my hand, Marie." Okay, so we'll do them in those sections. All right. And it wasn't like we were an item to start with. It had no basis in fact, but the whiskey could push me to some extremes. Don't wanna think about that. Don't wanna think about that. All right, again, a bunch of changes, and I apologize. You'll have to look at the other screen here. I'll try to, as I edit, keep my hand in the shot. Pardon me. Okay. So. Wasn't like we were an item to start with. Okay, wasn't like we were an item G start with. It D-ish had no basis in E minor-ish fact. And it wasn't like we were an item to start with. It had no basis in fact. But the whiskey. All right, now what I'm doing when I transition from that E minor shape to the C is I'll go and just. So I can bring that little note out there. So it's kind of like is going to come out, I hope. But like we were an item to start with, it had no basis in fact. You see what I'm doing there? It's kind of in that same, loping cadence that he's doing with the strumming, and we'll talk a bit about the right hand toward the end. Wasn't like we were an item to start with, had no basis in fact. All right, now the second part of that is, but the whiskey could push me to some extreme. Don't don't want to think about that. Don't want to think about that. All right, let's take a look at that. It's different from the first half. But the whiskey could push me to sudden extremes. I don't want to think about. Oh, see, this is what keeps happening. But the whiskey could push me to sudden extremes. I don't want to think about that. Don't want to think about that. All right, so it's you're going C to G to D minor to D, excuse me, to E minor. C to G, hold the G to the D, C to the G. So just play that sequence back and work it until you get it. You'll get it, then you'll miss it, then you'll get it again, and you'll miss it again. You might get it and keep it. You're a better person than me if you do. All right, so let's do that one last time all the way through that first section. And it wasn't like we were an item to start with, had no basis in fact. And whiskey could push me to some extremes. Don't want to think about that. Don't want to think about that. Okay, great. We finally got through it all. Now, we're going to start in E minor for the part that is Take My Hand, Marie. Now, you can do this one of two ways. You can either keep on the E minor-ish shape that we've been using, or you can just go ahead and grab that good old E minor chord you know how to play from long ago. It depends on how I'm feeling or where I'm going with, if I'm trying to get fancy or not. I might keep that same shape just because it makes it easier to get back to it. Whatever works for you. All right. Take my hand, Marie. All right, here we're going to go to the actual D chord. So it's take my hand, Marie. All right, E minor, C shape, D chord. Because that gives you the chance to do that. Take a death grip on some part of me. And me from drifting far out to sea, or I'll be lost out there. All right, let's do that again. And take my hand, Marie. Taking death grip on some part of me. Me from drifting far out to sea, or I'll be lost out there. All right, it's E minor, C, D, take my hand, Marie, C to G, to the D, to the E minor, and you do that exactly twice. And then we're going to hold that E minor, and the last end of that thing is lost out there. So that's the E minor shape, the D-ish shape, the C shape. I'll be lost out there. All right, now I think we're just about there, folks, because we've now seen the little intro run that he does. We did the verses. We broke the choruses into those two sections, struggled our way through those. And the only thing different toward the back of the song here, when he does the chorus the last time, is he does that "I'll be lost out there" 3 times instead of just once the first time he does it. I think he might do it twice the second time. But I'm going to finish by 2 things. One, I'm going to do the second version of the chorus with "You Can't Be Young" and do that, because especially when he does it the second time, he repeats the line a couple times. I'll do that. And we'll come back and finish off by talking a little bit about the right hand. Okay, so let's do that. In a way back corner of a crosstown bus, we were hiding out under my hat, cashing in on a 30-year crush. You can't be young and do that. You can't be young. You can't shapes are the same, timing is the same as the first version of the chorus. All right, now the last thing on the right hand. That's what I'm doing. So it's pretty much back and forth. So it's a 3 sweeps, and then when you're coming up, I'm doing that on the upstroke. So once I get that groove going, so you can do a lot of hammer in there and find that right hand cycle cadence that works. That's the one that works for me. It's not obviously not exactly what James does. But another thing I recommend is, and I'll go ahead and find one and put a link also in the description below, is during the live streams, we all, those of us who were regular viewers, had the privilege of watching James lay out all his new songs of the record that was, waiting to be finished off and released. And so I've never had an experience where I knew all the material on a new album when it first came out, which was really cool that we all got to see both the evolution of his solo versions of all of those songs, and then how they came out on the album. It's really fascinating to see. So take a look at that. Also, I'll put a link. I've performed this song one time in my live streams a couple times ago, so I'll put a link to that down there too. Thanks to everybody for your patience waiting for me to get around to figuring out how to do this. I know this has been a long-winded one, but it's one of the more complicated songs of James's to play. Again, not because of the shape so much, but because of how similar it is to other things and how you really got to get that distinctive timing to make it Canola Fields and not Rachel's song or whatever. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves.